People used to treat me like I was nothing, a mere footnote in the world of fighting. But beneath that quiet exterior lay a storm ready to erupt. The exclusive halls of Sterling Fight Academy echoed with laughter as Victoria Sterling, UFC featherweight champion and self-proclaimed Queen of the Ring, openly mocked my presence. "What are you doing here, sweetheart?" "This isn't a street fight," she said, her arrogance radiating like a pungent cologne. I stood there, gym bag at my side, the laughter of seasoned fighters ringing in my ears, but I didn't flinch. Instead, I felt a calmness wash over me, a confidence built from years of fighting my way up from the bottom. "Actually, I'm here to show you what real grit looks like," I replied, my voice steady as a heartbeat. When I mentioned a contractual clause that would require her to apologize publicly if she lost, the room went silent, the air thick with disbelief. Take as I prepared for the imminent showdown, I could almost taste the sweet irony of the situation. With media present, the stakes were amplified, and my quiet demeanor began unraveling her brash bravado. The first clash in the octagon felt electric. With each hit I landed, the tide of respect shifted. Victoria's bewilderment painted a clear picture of underestimation. As her arrogance crumbled, I saw an opportunity not just to win a match, but to redefine what a fighter could be. In the aftermath, the fight became a viral sensation, my journey transforming into a powerful narrative against prejudice. 1 year later, I opened my own academy, a sanctuary for aspiring fighters. As I stood behind the podium, I didn't just speak of resilience. I reminded everyone that strength can be born from the quietest moments. And as for Victoria, her downfall served as a stark reminder of what happens when arrogance meets reality. "Who let you in here, amateur?" Victoria's voice rang out, slicing through the gym noise like a blade. Laughter erupted around her, applause for the reigning champion who stood tall, glistening with confidence, her eyes narrowing at Diana. Diana squared her shoulders, unfazed, the smirk on her face barely wavering. "I'm contracted to train here," she replied coolly, her voice steady despite the red-hot heat of humiliation swelling within her. "Guess the gym hasn't turned you into a better person, though." "Street fights don't mean squat in the octagon," Victoria shot back, her fists flexing, eliciting cheers from her entourage. "You think you belong here? You're just a charity case." The laughter from others snapped like a whip against Diana's skin, but she clasped the gym bag tighter, grounding herself with the weight of it. "We'll see about that," she said, pulling out the contract, its importance magnified in the tension of the moment. "If I win, you owe me a public apology for your disrespect. It's in the details." Victoria sneered, confidently brushing off Diana's words. "Please, you can't be serious. What a joke." But the party soon turned sour when Diana documented the setup, a camera rolling, capturing every eye-rolling insult and the arrogance of the champion. "This isn't just sparring anymore," Diana warned, the calm in her eyes daring Victoria to dismiss her again. "Think you can take me?" Victoria retorted, though her tone wavered slightly now, unease creeping in as their audience sharpened its focus. "You're delusional!" Began, shock rippled through the crowd. Diana's technique was sharp, strike landing precisely where it counted. The laughter's silence, replaced with gasps that echoed like shots of reality. One solid punch sent Victoria crashing, her bravado evaporating, replaced with disbelief and panic. "Take. Maybe now you'll learn respect," Diana whispered, her fierce gaze meeting Victoria's, the gym buzzing with unspoken truths. Diana stood in the corner of the gym, her heart pounding in sync with the rhythmic thuds of gloves against bags. All eyes were on Victoria as she strode past, a sardonic smirk plastered across her face. "What's a street fighter doing here?" Victoria laughed, the jeering from her posse like a chorus of ridicule. Each comment cut deeper, each glance sharper, and yet Diana held her ground, her pride anchored in the knowledge of her talents. As the sparring session approached, the tension escalated. Victoria dismissed Diana's calm assertion of her achievements, pivoting on the preconceived notion that skill was determined by prestige and pedigree. The weight of those mocking words pressed down on Diana until she made her move. She laid out the contractual clause. One misstep from Victoria could mean public humiliation. The room chilled for an instant, grit replacing laughter. The warm-up felt different. Each stretch stretched her determination, and as they faced off in the octagon, an electric charge coursed between them. The initial exchanges quickly illuminated Diana's honed technique, landing jabs that punctured Victoria's arrogance. Gasps swept through the audience as reality began to dawn on Victoria. She was no longer the formidable champion, but merely a fighter, caught off guard by her own hubris and the rising tide of a tenacious opponent. Between rounds, the palpable anger in Victoria morphed into palpable anxiety. She felt the spectators' eyes, turning from her to Diana, witnessing an unanticipated shift. Diana, with unwavering poise, became a symbol of defiance against oppression. And as the match wore on, with every hit Diana landed, she could almost hear the echo of change reverberating through the gym, building toward an inevitable climax, one that neither of them could foresee. Then Diana stepped onto the mat, heart steadying as she faced Victoria, who had spent the last few weeks mocking her presence at the Sterling Fight Academy. Victoria sneered, "You really think you can stand up to me? Look at you. It's laughable." Quietly, Diana met her gaze, responding, "Laughter can easily turn to silence, Victoria." The audience shifted, taken aback by the calm confidence in Diana's voice. For every insult hurled, she became more resolute. When Victoria disparaged her background, Diana replied, "I come from hard streets that taught me resilience. You might want to watch your arrogance." The media's cameras captured this underdog's assertion, framing her narrative as more than just an upset. It was a rebellion against prejudice. As sparring began, Diana's strategy unfolded like a well-planned attack. Each punch she landed reverberated through the gym, igniting cheers. "Is that all you've got?" she taunted, her voice controlled but firm. Victoria's frustration bubbled over as she was knocked down, disbelief etched across her face. "Don't underestimate me," Diana whispered, her voice steady as tension thickened the air. "I'm not just here to fight. You've awakened something in me." By the end, Victoria was faced with the reality of her words, the loud silence of the audience hitting her harder than any blow. As Diana stood tall, victorious, she offered a challenge. "Ready to apologize?" The gym echoed with recognition. A shift had occurred, and Diana had carved out her place, not just as a fighter, but as a beacon of resilience. The air was electric in the Sterling Fight Academy as the final round approached. Diana stood in the center of the octagon, her heart steady, while Victoria, once the queen of the ring, was visibly unraveling. With every jab and kick, Diana's fluid movements became a blur of strength and grace, each strike a rebuke to Victoria's earlier derision. The crowd gasped as yet another blow sent Victoria to the canvas, her bravado collapsing like a house of cards. As the referee stepped in, Diana held her breath, the silence of the moment amplifying the tension. Victoria's face, once twisted in scorn, now mirrored disbelief and fury. Diana could feel the weight of the cameras behind her, the media documenting the shifting tides. The sting of each hit was not just physical, it was a public reckoning that no amount of arrogance could shield Victoria from. The audience erupted into cheers, but it was the quiet thrum of triumph inside Diana that drowned them out. With the final whistle, victory was etched in Diana's name, her fierce determination contrasting starkly against the crushed demeanor of the champion. As Victoria struggled to her feet, a reporter stepped forward, brandishing a smartphone emblazoned with screenshots of Victoria's mocking comments about fighters like Diana, comments that now felt heavy with irony. "Would you like to apologize?" the reporter asked, the words slicing through the charged atmosphere. Unwavering, a silent nod of acknowledgement echoing through the room. Victoria, seething, suddenly found herself cornered, her reputation hanging by a thread. The fighters who had once laughed at Diana now looked at their champion with disappointment. The moment crystallized, the character of a true champion revealed not by titles or belts, but by the depth of their respect for others. With a deep breath, Diana stepped forward, reclaiming her space, her victory extending beyond the octagon. She had wielded her tenacity not just for herself, but as a beacon of empowerment, a testament to quiet resilience against disdain. While Victoria stood there, exposed and quaking, the silent triumph of Diana, her dignity intact, her strength on display, felt like justice finally served. And I look back on that fateful day at the Sterling Fight Academy, I feel a mix of pride and disbelief. What started as a mockery turned into a pivotal moment, not just for me, but for everyone witnessing it. The room filled with laughter quickly turned into a space where strength and resolve were tested. Standing up to Victoria was more than a personal challenge. It transformed into a stand against the biases that often linger in the shadows of our world. I walked away from that octagon with more than just a victory. I emerged with greater wisdom. Each bruise and every ounce of disdain fueled my journey to open my own academy, where no one would feel belittled because of their background. But even in my triumph, I remain human, aware of the complexities of life and the factors that drive us to hurt others. So I ask you, do you think I went too far? Have you ever faced someone who made you question your worth? Your experiences matter, and I invite you to share them in the comments. Let's discuss power bias and the journey toward justice together.